So Duncan and Jane, and we finally arrived in Ushuaia, and we'll pan around for you fairly soon just to show you this gorgeous location down here at the tip of Argentina. We're just back from 15 days travelling into the Antarctic and to the Antarctic Peninsula, and wow, it's been a pretty amazing,
very amazing
experience, isn't it?
Yeah. We can't actually call it a cruise. It's definitely an expedition.
Yeah, we kind of got a bit confused between thinking it was a cruise and then it was introduced as an expedition. And after having gone through the updates by the actual tour leaders and the expedition leaders, you clearly then realise it actually is an expedition, albeit that we're actually travelling 5-star on the Ponant, the L'Oreal ship. But overall, what do you reckon?
It was absolutely brilliant, a once-in-a-lifetime trip that, only 25,000 people are travelling to the Antarctic at the moment each year. By 2025, they're probably expecting about 50,000. And it's one of those unique experiences. We've taken lots of photos and lots of videos, and I'm not quite sure whether they're actually going to be able to capture what we've actually seen and what we've actually experienced. Just to travel through South Georgia and to see the different types of wildlife and the penguins that we experienced, and then to travel down to the Antarctic Peninsula and the South Shetland Islands. It's just been incredible. The scenery is really out of this world. We've fallen in love with penguins, we've fallen in love with Weddell seals and fur seals and sea lions. We've learned so much from the expedition team. Each day we have briefings, we have lectures, and it's a place that nobody owns. There's no country in the world that actually owns the Antarctica, and it is really a very, very special place. And to experience it with Ponant, the experience of everybody on board, the team leaders, that the captain is absolutely amazing. He is the second oldest in Ponant, with 25 years of experience. He loves his ship, and you can see that the passion when he talks about his ship and his journeys down here in the Antarctica. So it's been a very, very special journey, and one that will actually stay in our hearts for a long time.
Yeah, it's quite emotional really, because it's definitely a trip which has been top of our agenda in terms of the bucket list, and it's, you don't like to have favourites, but at the end of the day it's a little bit like Machu Picchu, which it kind of gets tucked into your heart, and it's a very special place. It's very unique. It's quite difficult to really express it. We tried to attempt it in the photography and the YouTubes and the Twitter and the Instagram, so please do feel free to go and have a look at the 2 Travel 2 social media positions that we've placed up there. But while we're on this journey, we did actually have a number of questions that consistently came up, and so we might just shoot through those right now. And so what was the first one we had?
Okay, so we've had a lot of questions on what cameras did we take. To be honest, we're not professional photographers, so really all we've been using is our 2 iPhones, and also we have a Lumix camera, and Duncan does a lot of filming with a gimbal. So it's an iPhone for me and it's a Samsung for Duncan. We've got videos coming up, we've got lots of photos to share with you. Next question was, what clothes do we take? Well, Ponant actually give you these jackets, which is perfect. They're really warm, they're waterproof, lots of pockets and things. But the thing here is really to layer. You should have a thermal underneath your clothes. You should have really good waterproof pants. So with waterproof pants, you just need to have a pair of leggings underneath, thick socks. They provide boots for you. And then really for the top, you have your thermal top, one more top, and then the jacket, definitely a beanie, silk gloves to go underneath your big thick gloves. And if you're carrying a lot of camera equipment, I would suggest that you actually buy a waterproof bag for your cameras, because this is the first cruise of the season. There was a lot, every time we went on land there was snow, and we've had rain, and you can get splash going out in the Zodiac as well. The next question was, how cold was it? Well, that was one of the ones that I was really fearful of, because I was seeing reports of -24. I guess probably the coldest we got was about -4 down in the Antarctica. Peninsula, but with the clothes that we actually had on, it really didn't feel cold whatsoever. It was nice to come back on board. They provide hot chocolate for you, they provide soup, and just to get into that hot shower at the end of your excursion. You're only ever on land for a maximum of 2 hours. You can come back on board anytime you want. So cold really isn't an issue, but lots of sunscreen and lip balm as well. Lots of questions on what did we see. We have seen the penguins, which are absolutely amazing. We have seen king penguins, Adele penguins, chinstrap penguins. We've seen the fur seals, the Antarctic fur seal. We have seen the Weddell seals with basically a brand new born pup the other day, which is really unusual. Lots of birds. We've got 2 birds sitting here at the moment. Not quite sure what they are, but there's opportunities to see much more as you go into the season. Next question is, did we get seasick through the Drake Passage? Well, I'll leave that one up to Duncan to tell you.
Yes. So, you know, everyone has their own limitations, and we hadn't really prepared very well from it. Everyone arrived kind of with their, you know, packets of seasickness strategies. We kind of knew the Drake Passage was going to be potentially an issue, but there was a certain naivety from our base. But look, the bottom line is, yes, there is potential to have seasickness. Be prepared, you know, bring your own, you know, products from your local doctor, etc. that you require. Interesting enough, I was ill yesterday on the Drake Passage, and it was pretty churny, you know, and you know, it was fantastic. The crew here just cut up a green apple and some dry biscuits, and actually that corrected me. So yeah, be prepared. Obviously there's a doctor on board and lots of other strategies, so you could potentially, but don't let it put you off in terms of, you know, oh, you might get sick and therefore you don't want to do it. It's part of the journey, it's part of the experience, and looking back on it, it was one of those marvellous adventures, and certainly the odd day or two when I felt nauseous wouldn't stop me again from doing this.
Even the crew gets sick, so you know that they're quite willing to share what happens with them. With the Drake Passage, it's either a Drake Shake or a Drake Lake, and the Drake Lake, of course, is going to be the smooth crossing, and the Drake Shake is going to be the rough crossing. And the ship is very, very well equipped to handle any sorts of weather and swell, etc. Next question is, where do we leave from? On this particular cruise, because it's the start of the season, we actually left from Montevideo and we arrived here in Ushuaia. The next probably 8 to 10 cruises will leave from Ushuaia and return back to Ushuaia, and the last cruise of the season will head from Ushuaia maybe back up to Montevideo and back that way. Another question was our experience with Ponant. Well, absolutely brilliant. We could not fault them whatsoever. Their experience, the knowledge of the naturalists on board, the expedition leader, a captain, as we said, was absolutely amazing. The team leaders, they all have a subject that they're passionate about, so we get lectures daily on whales and well, actually, yes, we did see some whales.
Yep,
yes,
saw whales.
We saw the fin whale and we saw the humpback whale as well coming out of Half Moon Bay. The team that sort of help you get into the Zodiac is well experienced. We were on the bridge for an hour the other day, and there's cadets on board. There's always an amazing team on board. As we said, the captain's got heaps of experience, so we were in really good hands. The highlights, well, really every day was a highlight, even when we were at sea, because we had so much to see and do. But the scenery down here is spectacular. You know, Half Moon Bay, the sun was shining. It was magnificent. The Wilhelmina Bay, where we actually got off at sunset, and we walked on the ice shelf, which was between 2 and 3 meters thick, and had a glass of champagne, and then got back on board again. That was very, very special. And the sky was pink and golden. South Georgia Island was our first experience, where we saw our first king penguins and the fur seals and the sea elephant seals. every spot had something different to offer and to share with us. So it doesn't matter where you go in the Antarctic. And what you actually have to remember on these expeditions is that if there is an itinerary on board, or there's an itinerary that is sent out to you and you expect to cover all these places that the itinerary says that you are going to, that may be not the case, because what actually happens, it all really depends on the weather. It depends whether you can actually get into some of these bays. Nico Harbour apparently on this particular trip was on our itinerary and it was completely iced in, so that's one reason why we didn't go there. But they always have plan B, they always have plan C, and because they've had so much experience down in this particular area, there's always an amazing plan B or plan C to take you off to sea. So the highlights have been really every day. It's because it's a small ship as well. There's only 200 passengers on board and 140 crew, so you feel very special. Drinks during the day was all included. Everything's included once you pay your full price on this particular cruise. The staff have been amazing down in the dining rooms. They're cheeky. They've had great experience. We've had excellent food. The wines have been all French champagne. Desserts to die for, so we're probably going to be like the penguins. We're going to probably waddle off ship tomorrow morning, but every day has been a highlight. So thank you, Ponant, and thank you everybody for following us, because it really has been an amazing journey.
Yeah, and I think just in terms of the summary for myself, in terms of the highlights, I wanted to come down here to kind of hear the ice crack, and I've heard that. It was just amazing to see the wildlife, to see the seals, to see the penguins, to see the bird life. We got to be able to also, trek in the snow. We managed to get onto the ice. We travelled in the zodiacs at the water level. We broke through ice. So we got this amazing variety of textures and feelings of the Antarctic, which is, it wasn't just the blueness of the actual peninsula, and sure, we could have gone down there longer, but I think the way that it was done, which was doing the South Georgia entity was a great way of actually being able to present this region, and now we've actually settled back into Ushuaia, so we might just pan around for you now and just show you what
these cheeky little birds.
There's a couple of cheeky little birds here which I can just get them to show you. I'll show those in a few seconds. So there you can see our cheeky little visitors there, just extending onto, sitting there resting from their journeys down in the peninsula. And you can, I'll just pan around now, and you can be able to see Ushuaia in its mountain formations. And we're going to be spending the next 3 days there, so it's a wonderful port to come back into and settle. It's the first time we've seen sort of kind of human civilization, which is a bit candid on the eye. And so that's it, folks. And so a big shout out here from the 2 Travel 2 team. It's been a wonderful experience. Been beautiful to be able to come down here. Very privileged, I think we feel, don't we? Yep. All right, so that's it. Sign off, and be sure to check in, ask any questions you want of us over the next thing. We'll be coming out with a full itinerary in terms of travelling into our version and our experience of travelling into this region. And
packing list, tips and tricks, how to handle life on board, everything. So
lots of experiences. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot to kind of go through, and as Jane says, it will come through in layers, because I'm sure once we've actually got back to human civilization and internalised this, it's going to be pretty profound. So that's it. We're off.
Ciao.
Ciao.